Hey everybody, how you doing? Rich, Scott, I'm Mike Malai, and it's uh, it's a wonderful Thursday today, and words to film by, and I think I don't know if we lost Rich. Do we still have Rich?
I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Hey, cool. So there was some new stories out there in AI. Scott, who's usually on top of all that stuff too, I'm sure he's got some uh, good input about some of the things that are going on. Um, so one of the big things in AI today was and when I started searching out stories about things that were going on in the entertainment industry, one of the first stories that popped up was right after my doctor's appointment was it's a new AI tool that supposedly is outperforming doctors on medical exams. So it was a tool, grounded in evidence-based medicine, that shows like incredible accuracy and up against a couple of other doctors that they were basing it on. Well, I said, hey, if they can use AI to do diagnoses, it sure is encouraging for content creators too. So, but that was one of the biggest news in the news stories. It was on Bloomberg and everything this morning. They were talking about how AI is seemingly outperforming some doctors in tests of compared to humans. So hey, you know what? Sometimes you're called a mindless robot when you go to work, and in this case, not a mindless robot, but it is an AI driven robot that's proven it. So some of the stuff that's been talked about in AI as that we talked about the last time about some of the tools that are taking place. It's coming down to content creation. Anybody that's tested it out, we've all tested a lot of the models out too, where it's as far as speed that they're actually discussing the speed of things going on. That's it's not just about an AI tool being able to help you create content. It's about the speed that faster content creation in AI tools that is evolving so fast. You know, you know, in different content formats. Not just for blog posts or social media updates or website copy and video scripts, but also in the entertainment industry. And a lot of the platforms that are bragging about it are Copy AI and Write Sonic, and still have heard nothing from anybody in the Wright brothers or anything on what's going on with Final Draft or Movie Magic.
Celtics.
It's still kind of silenced on that end. Um, you know, things that we're working on, um, that Scott's putting together, for the writer, for the content creator. I think is not saying, hey, everybody's, who's on first, but I think that, just based on what we've experienced with that, I feel like we're heading in the right direction. And I think, we've been doing this for almost a year and a half, exploring this year and a few months anyway. So it's you know one of the things that, like, even simple on marketing is AI can suggest you keywords to use in your marketing campaign, especially if you're trying to promote yourself, promote your script, promote what you're working on, promote your story. Yesterday I was in a meeting uh, with a production company, and the guy there wasn't prepared at all. With he was supposed to have a bunch of log lines, Bruce and that group, and so we went in there. So while they were hemming and hawing, and I just went ahead and I punched in some real quicks on their summaries, and man, it spit out 20 fast log lines. I mean, I probably liked four or five of them, but I mean, without any work, without anything, just dropping in a paragraph of the story, and man, did it take it beyond. So it was like, hey, there was no time to think. There was no time to prepare because that other person was supposed to have that. So it, it it really streamlined everything, and it kind of saved the meeting as well. So uh, those tools are getting used out there, and the ones that are screaming the loudest against it, I think they're using them the most, honestly. So especially on script writing, we're I mean, even though we've been doing this for a while, still really in the early stages of it all. Generating story ideas, based, like the suggestions, us doing ideas along, where it's like, hey, what's your suggestion? What's your thoughts? Just like collaborating with anyone. Like when you and I do one of our, our script meetings, and we're sitting there trying to, brainstorm and come up with ideas. It's no different than inviting your AI into the meeting and saying, hey, what do you think? What's your thought about this? It's, especially now too in editing, it's like, leaning over to him and say, hey, on the writing end, take a look at this. What do you feel is right? What do you think is right? Hey, do you spot any errors? Is there any mistakes? That is finally getting acknowledged in the news too, that it is a really good working tool. There's like a lot of AI generated short film festivals, like the short film contests, where it's like, hey, who comes up with the best AI short, who's the most. I still haven't seen a really good completely AI conversation, where it's dialogue based between each other, where they're talking to each other. Not that that's an important part of a story and visuals, but hey, you have to have dialogue at sometimes, unless you're doing the artist or a silent movie. It's good. That's when I'll say, hey, wow, we've really come to that point where it's really good dialogue back and forth. So and now that is a big thing that's being pushed, to enhance dialogue, create synthetic voices for characters, and even translate dialogue into other languages, accurately, with the proper accents, and getting that translated context from English to whatever language, or from that other language to English, and having it be authentic. That is a big part of it, and I think maybe the voiceover market, may take a bit of a hit, but it's definitely on the forefront of things. Not to mention everything Scott's building, for data analysis and insights on a screenplay. There's others trying to rush to do that too. I'm not concerned with what other people are doing. I like what Scott's putting together, and I think also as a screenwriter, it's going to help you personally brand yourself too. Making suggestions. Hey, this is what you could say at your pitch meeting. This is what you can do. Building on your own persona, building on your own library, building on what you got. It's look at people are using AI customer service. Just had that. We went to. I pulled out of school for my son, and he wanted some Taco Bell, so we pulled up, which it's always a long line and a very arduous process going to Taco Bell. And there's nobody in line. I look on the other side. Hey, they're all getting served. They're pulling out one by one. I'm the next guy. And the AI asked me for my order. Asked me, suggested something else. Would I like with it? Would I like a drink or whatever? And I said, yeah, throw one in, But it was so such good dialogue, where I was thinking, hey, is this an AI or is just a well-spoken kid at the at the counter? I had to think for a second. I mean, it had me. It was really good. Not to mention AI in marketing and how it's streamlining repetitive, which you know all about, Rich. Repetitive, evolving, constantly offering, writing out offers, for the schools, for the acting and everything. A lot of those repetitive functions that, the posting, the constant vigilance of, hey, did that go out today? Did this go out today? You got your ad dollars getting spent? Are you hitting your AdWords?
It's just a great assistant. It's a great tool. It's a great partner to use if you use it correctly. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's why we're putting it together for people to have a great partner, to have a great assistant, to follow up for your, just to make sure that once you have your product finished, that it's going to help you elevate it to another level, to give you ideas, to, if you have questions, it'll answer it for you. It's just a great partner to have. It's really an assistant. It's really a partner. It's something to help your script go forward. If you use it properly and learn to use it properly, you just can't beat it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like anything new, the naysayers out there say, "Hey, a lot of jobs are going to take hits on this." Well, you either learn how to use the AI, or move over to a computer and off your typewriter. That same mentality. Hey, after the strikes with SAG and the Writers Guild and all that in 2023, when everything came to a screeching halt, I mean, it's like time marches on. I think it'll be different next time somebody strikes. I think that's something to consider. Hey, I am 100% human. And I write human. I like having my AI assistant as an overseer, as an assistant to help me, to help you, to help get a job done. Because what's the bottom line? You want to do everything the right way. You want everything complete and to output product, constantly output product.
Look, there were books when books there first there were books, and then radio came out, and everybody's like, "Oh, the book business is gonna go out of business." And then radio was worried when television came, and then the movie business is worried when television came, and all those forms of entertainment are still going strong. There's still radios, there's still books, there's still movies, there's still television. It's just different, and if people just relax and use it properly, everything will be fine. It's like, it's okay. Everybody fears the unknown, and they have negative opinions on things they don't know anything about. It's like method acting. They all down method act. They don't even understand what it means. They have no idea what it means, and they downplay it and say negative things about it because they don't understand it. If you don't understand it and research it, you'll all understand that it is a positive tool when used correctly to help you reach your goals. It's not gonna do it for you, but when used properly, it is a great tool to help you reach your goals. And there's nothing negative about it if you use it properly.
For absolutely sure. I mean, not to mention our business is data data driven. It's like, can we afford an actuary to come and break down numbers of, hey, this many people that wear brown shoes, what, like these kind of stories, all that stuff. There is so much data that is deriving from that. It's like, hey, you're writing for this company right now, and this is their following. Keep these things in mind while you're writing. I mean, it's like, yes, it's like, there was so much criticism about product placement and tie-in promotions, and in the film business, and the traditionalists say, it's like, you're violating the story by doing things like that. Well, you know what funds the story? Soap operas were called soap operas because they sold detergent, on TV,
Right.
and because that detergent funded that show. I'm saying, not saying, hey, to do everything, uh, with product placement. I mean, I love being creative and letting something show. American Express some years back had a certain color blue. They didn't even want their logo thrown into the mix. They just wanted that color shown on certain things to create that air. They put millions of dollars into productions. I remember that at Star Power with LA Office and the group, talking about that sort of thing. It's not everything is about a McDonald's meal. You know, um, you do want to sell product. You do want to be able to, and you want to be able to fund your movie so you can make it. You know,
It's a business.
it's
It's
a
part of the
business,
business of it, and you can't just be an artist anymore. You have to be an artist and you have to be a business person. Get it through your head. It's just the way it is. And you can't rely on your representation. You can't rely on the business people to do your business for you. You have to be involved in your business.
right?
You just have to be, and if product placement is going to help you make more money, maybe to help fund your next project, or if it's going to help your project get made, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. I mean, even with editing too. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
some of those mundane tasks. I really am impressed by some editors that can sit there, literally. I watched Nick and hiring editor after editor after editor on this very complicated movie he put together for Broke English, and watching them, take a shot at it. He paid a lot of money in editing, trying to get their vision put out there. So it takes a lot to do that. I don't think they used any AI, which I would have been interested to see that, saying, hey, suggesting cuts, suggesting transitions, suggesting, hey, you don't need this, you don't need that, being a like you on setup, Bruce Willis tearing pages out of his script saying, not needed, not needed, not needed, you
Mhm.
know, uh, which, like you said, he made the right call on most of that stuff. Tearing scripts, I would like it sucked because you were in those scenes, but
Some of them, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it didn't propel the story and it didn't make it forward. So he kind of edited it on his own that way. So, but that AI and editing is going to be a big thing. Here, take a pass at it. Let's see what you got. Here's my storyline. Here's the story. Here's the footage. Take a look at it. See what you think. You know, um, it's
It's not going to take away the job of the editor.
no, it won't. Just gonna
Someone still has to work with the AI, and it's going to be an editor that does it.
because it wants it also needs to learn from him, and you also need to translate the director's vision. That's what the editor does. Translates the vision of the script and the director's notes,
It,
making it, hey, this is what I want to see. And like I said, I watched Nick with editor after editor. No, that's not what was in there. Thank you. We're moving
if I
on.
could jump in real quick, I think that the models and the technology is getting to the point now that people are going to have to stop looking at these things as tools and started thinking of them more as collaborators.
Wow, that's a good point.
Yep.
The point of the matter is that, like, if you have an AI assistant that is massively better at tracking down certain kinds of things, it just accelerates your workflow. It's the only thing that's going on. I mean, at this point anyway, AI doesn't have a like driving force. It just is, and it does have a major reason to like try to always make you happy. So, what I always try to work on is, you know, model, context, and prompt. And within those kinds of areas, you can make these things stay on track. When you have foundational thoughts and frameworks of like the words to film by methodology that keeps something in alignment, then it gives you just better outputs and it gives you better results. And I think probably it's hard to explain until I mean, we use all kinds of different AIs, but we're using the same methodology all the time. And when you don't know those information dense keywords of the business, for example, then you don't get those kinds of results. Or, because it's just simply you don't know what to ask. And I think that's what we've kind of figured out is that we have to help people be able to plug into that. And if you don't know those things, then we need to bring forth and say, well, the proper methodology to approach this is this. We're not going to do the work for you unless you say you want me to. Give you an example, that's fine. But if you're here to work on this, then you need to think about these things. What do you want to do? And I think that's the way these guys have always taught, and it's just going to be more of that. Because if you're trying to tell your story and someone comes up and goes, "Oh, I got your story all figured out. I do it like this." You'll be like, "What the fuck is your problem? I'm doing this for me." And I don't see why people think that the AI is just going to come in and butt in and just like, "Here, let me do it better." That's not the whole point of art and business anyway.
It doesn't mean you have to
Uh,
agree with the AI when it gives you
exactly.
suggestions either. It's still your story. It's like,
No.
thank you very much.
Well,
No,
how many times you disagree with it, Scott? I mean, it's like, no,
Well,
you got it
There was
wrong.
this there was a sycophantic stage that the one that I used the most through the whole internet. It was going through they did an update behind the scenes, and you don't have control over that stuff. What you have control over is your frameworks, your methodologies, and your experience. And as you get more and more experience and you use that stuff, if you don't spend some time working with AI as an industry tool or collaborator, I'm more of a collaborator type, then you're not going to see, if you're just sitting there trying to ask it stupid questions, you're going to get stupid
Yeah.
answers. It's a toy until it's not, and you start getting serious and you say, "Hey, look, I'm working on this part of my story according to words to film by methodologies, which I have it all encapsulated in my projects. What am I missing here? Like, what should I think about?
right.
What should I work on?" And it's just more like if these guys were in the room, they would say, "Man, it's kind of late for you to be calling me, but yeah, you should go work on these things." And it would probably be pretty close, if it's 80
Yeah,
to 90% of the time is correct.
that's
And you're never going to
perfect.
get around human editors and that kind of thing. It's just you get to do more iterations and more reps faster. It's 6-minute abs instead of 10-minute abs, right? So,
Right, right,
you
right.
you still got to put in the work, but you're going to get there quicker. And I think that's what most people are mixed up on, is they think that I don't know what they think. I'll be honest.
They're
I
just
really don't.
making judgments on
They're,
against something they don't know.
well, until
They're
you've
just
rowed a
panicking over
boat,
things.
you don't know what it feels like.
They're just panicking over things they don't know instead of learning, then making judgment.
Well,
Yeah,
in
and
society
what
in
the
general these days, the people are just kind of being led by the nose. I think more people just need to experience things for themselves and make their own judgment rather than reading something online and going, "Oh my God,"
Well,
that's
with
kind of
writers, they're
crazy.
so afraid, like, oh my God, but the AI can write a script for you. Well, man, I could have hired someone to write a script for me 20 years ago if I didn't want to write a script. I could call ghost writers. They're a dime a dozen.
Ding,
If I
ding,
could have
ding.
hired someone 20 years ago to write a script if I didn't want to. Yes, it was a person instead of an AI, but that's been around forever. So anybody could have done it
Exactly.
forever. It's
Great
been,
point.
you know how many scripts are written by other people?
Great
Millions.
look how
point.
So
many
like don't it's been there anyway.
Great
Nick gets
point.
hired to write scripts all the time, from all over the world.
It's a
You
great
know,
point. And it's just that well, we can't really tell you what other people, we just tell you what we're doing.
right?
And what we're doing is we're leveraging these things so we can do outsized projects that probably we couldn't do before. And we're thinking about doing things that, in ways that couldn't be done before, and connecting creators in ways that couldn't be done before. And I think that all of that stuff is really neat. And we're gonna see some more creative activity, especially in America, I think, out of anywhere, if we just enable those things to happen. I think that's kind of what our mission is.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it looks like the time box is coming into the close. That's my 2 cents on it. Anyway,
That's great. Thank you guys. I mean, today
Well,
was
part
great.
of it, the one thing is, the one key word, like you said, it's a business. It streamlines workflow.
and isn't the art part the most fun? The work part of the show business stuff, kind of, it's a drag.
Yeah,
We want to like really accelerate some of that stuff. Like, can you imagine trying to go through and look at your entire script and figure out all the prop costs and all the things you got to rent and versus all the things you've got to like make custom and like just doing that, that's a whole team of 2 to 3 people on a typical job. Now it can be done
agreed.
just straight at the time you're creating the content. And I'm sorry, but that's just the reality of that
The
the
faster that
metadata is
stuff,
there.
the faster the stuff that stuff gets done, the more art and fun you can have.
Yeah,
Correct. Let's get to the good
content
That's the
stuff.
whole
creation,
point.
Let's don't do the spreadsheet. Like for
Ah,
sure, when you're using other people's money, you better account for that stuff if you ever want to do another project again, because that
right?
is
right,
still financial fiduciary things. You
right.
think just because you're making a sweet little heart movie that somebody's money gets spent the wrong way, that they're not going to sue you into oblivion? No, they'll sue you faster than anyone because those dudes are already rich. Are you kidding? So, all these things are just going to make the artist and the creator work more on the work and let the business part, like, you can't just put it on autopilot. It's trust but verify. But
Right.
if you can get a lot of this busy work done and like be more prepared to walk into that meeting and talk about your pitches, and then you have all your data stuff, and it's like, okay, let's talk about more of this money stuff. Oh yeah, no problem. I've got this machine right here that has all of our data in it. You ask it as many questions you want, and it'll give you all the sources. And I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
Yeah, be
Because
more
there's a
involved in
different
that part
level.
of it. Be more
Yeah.
involved in that part of it,
Yeah.
I just
And
wanted to add,
honestly,
one thing. First of all, great content on this today. I think writers often suffer from paralysis through analysis, and we get caught up in details and things that are roadblocks. I see a lot of what you talked about today is, opening those blocks up, improving your productivity. I do think it's fear of the unknown, Rich, to your point. But I see it as an inspirational thing. So thanks for the content today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, sir.
that's a great way to leave it. Anything else, guys?
Good session, man. Good
That
session.
is really good stuff. Thank you, Teddy. And
Thank you,
Scott,
everybody.
that was great stuff too, Scott.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys.